We'd like to welcome you to BlackUSA.News. My name's Donnie Glover. We're with the one and only Devon Travell. How are you, Devon?
Hey, I'm blessed over here. No complaints at all, Clean Governor. How are you with your ginger? I see you doing your thing.
Yeah, I got my ginger going on. You're in Los Angeles?
Yes, sir.
What's going on out there? What's the climate like?
I mean the actual climate's a little gloomy today. Uh,
Politically.
but politically, we're in a you know interesting area. I feel like locally or for the state of California, folks aren't necessarily happy with leadership over here. So definitely a little bit of demonstration agitation still going on for local government, but for nationwide USA, folks are pretty happy because of the new administration we just got in. Obviously, we don't know what for sure policy wise is going to happen with this new administration. We got our fingers crossed, but personally as a community, I feel like there's things that we need to be doing anyway, no matter who's in the office, no matter who's in leadership. There's community actions that need to be done to set ourselves up regardless. So
That's a great segue into your project. Tell us about Play Black Wall Street game.
let's do it. So we had it's been a journey as you know, but right now we have the second edition of the game, Black Wall Street, the board game, based on the true legacy of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. And right now, I don't think we've done an interview on the next edition. We're working on the 2021 edition of the game right now, and we were making some cool changes. And I mean, maybe we can get into the updates that we're doing, but the main update is we are incorporating like real current art from artists. So we did a huge call out for folks nationwide. We got obviously some local LA artists. TJ Taylor did this OW Girly
Oh,
portrait
Gummy
back
Girl.
here. That's going to be featured on the board, and we have a lot of other artists that are contributing, including some local young Tulsa artists as well. So
Well,
it's going to be a dope game.
I got a brain stretcher for you now. This year is obviously the 100th anniversary
Yes, sir.
of 100th commemoration, if you will, of the
The
horrific
bombing. Yeah.
destruction, bombing of Tulsa's Greenwood section. But of course, there were two other official Black Wall Streets, one in Richmond and one in Durham, North Carolina. Do you foresee incorporating them into the game in editions to come?
So a little inside, we are definitely working on additional additions. We are right now going the approach of like let's create a board game specifically for each Black Wall Street because each one had a different swag to it. You know, they were built a little bit different. They may have focused on a different industry like insurance, like banking and other places. Rosewood on the cedar trees. So each one kind of has a little bit of a different economy, so the game's gonna look a little bit different. The first one that we're working on is, we're from Cali, so we wanted to give some love to Cali. Is Allensworth. Allensworth, little town in like Bakersfield kind of ish area, modern day California.
It was
Um,
founded by the Colonel.
yep, yep. Let's see, where I have a book on Allensworth somewhere over there, but that's going to be most likely the next Black Wall Street kind of edition of the game that we're working on.
So a lot of people don't know that Colonel Allensworth founded that town, a Black town, and that's a significant part of Black history in California.
Right.
You know, every time I think of LA, I think of the Khalifians. Have you run across them in your studies?
Yep. So and you let me know, maybe I need better books, but some books that I'm reading are saying that Khalifa and the Khalifians was like all mystical and kind of like legend. And then other sources are saying like it was, obviously a real empire or a real civilization in California. I haven't decided on my own which one I believe yet. So I feel like I need better sources.
Well, here's a thought. Prior to the European coming to this country, there weren't written records in English.
Mm.
The natives did not speak English. There's not a lot
That's a good point.
to look at except artifacts as to what was happening in North America prior to, say, 1500.
Mm-hmm.
My understanding, for example, is that there was a town, a black town that was that essentially disappeared. This was dated around 1300. I also know that out in Nevada, there's a place called Kincaid's Cave, and they found Egyptian artifacts there. So I think the big challenge is finding artifacts or even writings on cave walls.
And
but in
what
terms of written
language?
records, yeah, and I don't know that you would find any written records.
And are those in Arabic? Is there just a language that we don't
That's
even
a
know what
great
language?
question. I don't know the answer, but consider this. Califia, California, the root word is Caliph, which is an Islamic word, an Arabic word.
Right.
Caliph, I think it's like a religious leader or something to that effect. So I found it very interesting when I first learned about Califia and, obviously California, that it had such roots pointing to us.
Right.
That's what is clear to me.
Yep.
There are those that would have us think that the only way we ever got here was in the bottom of a slave ship. And history disproves that over and over and over again.
Yeah. And I was doing research on Mansa Musa as well.
And
how his uncle, Mansa Abu Bakari, he left obviously the Ivory Coast or the West Coast of Africa, and no one knows where he ended up. People just think that he went on this current in the middle of the ocean. But now today we know that current goes from Africa all the way to the South Americas. And that was in the 1300s. So
and those currents are still in effect today.
Right. So in my opinion, it's very possible that all those fleets of boats, as long as King Abu Bakari, probably landed in South America, and possibly, some of them made their way up to Northern America. So yeah, I feel like we have deep roots here for sure.
And then you look at the Olmec heads.
Yep.
The Olmec heads in Mexico. You look at the nose and the lips on those. And
that's my uncle right there. Yeah.
Yeah, but there are those who live in Mexico, some who say, no, they're not black.
They are. Yeah. Yeah. A lot of I think there's a lot of rich history, something that I want to learn more, and we can get back to the game, but the game is just like one aspect of history. The kind of the common themes that I like is just the connection of different cultures, but also the economic history of the African diasporas. That's why I love Mansa Musa, Mali, and really interested in seeing what other empires we were able to build so that we can learn from the economics, the culture of what we've been doing for thousands of years. But specifically with Mexican culture and African/Black culture, there's a lot of love in mingling there. I think that's why both of our cultures butt heads a lot, especially in, I don't know, it's like that in California and LA. There's a little bit of head knocking out here, but I think there's more things in common. So if we can find more of those common points, then we can
music being one of them.
For sure.
So, what have you learned about the guy in the picture behind you, O.W. Gurley?
So one of the dope things that I did learn was he had. So I think we struggle today with giving up our job for the greater good of the community, right? So we may have a good paying job, making X amount, and maybe it's not doing something that we're passionate about, but it keeps the lights on, it's safe, it's comfortable, and we're not worried about everything else. O.W. Gurley, he had that at one point too. He had a presidential appointment. He was making some good money, and there was really no need for him to do what he did. But he took a huge risk moving to Tulsa, right? Buying that land, making sure that only Black families and Black businesses were able to invest in that land with him. He could have been very selfish and just step back. I'm gonna make my own money. But yeah, he kind of again took that leap, took that jump, and made sure that he can feed other people and leave a larger legacy. So that's one of the things that I'm trying to pull from his legacy, as I'm trying to do the same thing, as I'm trying to make my leap, and just seeing people in history who have done that leap and we're still talking about them, and they've made such an impact on folks. So I think that's the number one thing I'll take away.
So one thing I've learned is that as slavery ended and Blacks were leaving the Deep South, because of the 1877 compromise, which, essentially, the Black South was divided into two. One got rid of the Union troops in southern towns. People started fleeing, and two places they wanted to go to was Kansas and one was Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And in Kansas, I recently learned how John Brown had roots in Kansas. There's a movie out called The Good Lord Bird. Ethan Hawke is playing John Brown. And it goes into, essentially, he was killing slavers. He had no problem killing anybody involved with slavery. He had no problem whatsoever. And consequently, Kansas became a place where thousands, tens of thousands of blacks came to from the deep South. You're talking about Tennessee, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama. They made their way to Kansas because John Brown had, because of the work he had done on those slavers, he made it palatable.
It was safe out there.
Well, that's what the notion was.
Right.
And once they got out there, of course, and the blacks that made it to Oklahoma, let me tell you, some of them were still prior to slavery ending. They had to watch out for slavers, not just white slavers, but Indian slavers.
Yeah. That's something I learned pretty recently too, that so obviously the Emancipation Proclamation signed 1864. There was a different treaty 2 years later of 1866 that freed the slaves in Indian territories. So when we think of, the earlier 1800s, obviously actual America was mostly just like the East Coast. All that rest of it was mostly Indian territory. So excuse the fast motorcycle in the back. So in the whole West, like for 2 years after folk were freed, our ancestors were still technically enslaved in Indian territories as well. So I found that a little interesting.
Have you run across the story of Chief John Horse yet?
Chief John Horse. I think you told me a little bit about that, but I haven't done further research into it.
Phenomenal man. He was one of the first black leaders to make it to Oklahoma, roughly 1840 or so.
Chief.
Yeah, and he fought in the Second Seminole War, which was essentially the largest slave insurrection in the United States. Chief John Horse. He was a black Seminole.
Cool.
His story will blow your mind, Jack. And it's not very well known. But in what I believe is he was probably the baddest black man ever come through America. I mean,
like a real life Django.
I didn't watch the movie. I couldn't subject myself to Quentin Tarantino.
Understandable.
I couldn't subject myself to it. And I digress. But on that note, did you see Regina King's movie?
Which one?
It's called A Night in Miami. One Night in Miami.
Yes, we did see that. I liked it.
Whoa, that was mind blowing, man.
Oh yeah, and I think it's very, very timely right now because there's tons of different ways that different people can affect change. And I love how, Brother Malcolm X was really saying like, hey, Sam, like this is your lane, like your lyrics, your voice, you can do this. And like everyone had their own purpose and their own gift to give back. So I think, yeah, more folks definitely need to watch that and not just watch it for entertainment, but watch it for like, okay, what is Malcolm saying to me right now? Like if he was
that's right Regina King and the writer Kemp, they just, man, what a brilliant story.
Yeah.
We've never seen that side of those superstars.
Right.
But in that room, they were regular people.
Yeah, we need more like that for sure.
That was powerful. Okay, so what's the latest on the game? The last time I interviewed you, you had sold out. You sold out.
We did. So we're back in stock now. I appreciate everybody being patient. We definitely got more love than we were anticipating in like the second half of 2020. So they just flew. But we have more now. So you can head to playblackwallstreet.com. Go ahead and get yourself a game. They are buy one, get one 50% off. So if you got another family member, a birthday coming up, a family reunion coming up, or you just want to, show some love to other folks, feel free to go ahead and snag 2 games. Right now, I'm not sure when this will actually go live, but right now, 10% of all of our proceeds are going towards supporting the Greenwood Rising project. So if you don't know, Hannibal B. Johnson hooked us up with it. So Greenwood Rising, they are building a state-of-the-art museum and just like cultural hub and really this monument in Tulsa right at the beginning of Greenwood to really pay homage to obviously our ancestors and the legacy of Tulsa's Black Wall Street. So 10% our proceeds will be going towards supporting the construction of Greenwood Rising. So again, go ahead and get your game, playblackWallStreet.com. We appreciate you.
I got to get you to say hello to Ron D. Griffin. He's watching the show.
Hey, yeah, bro, Griffin. He just ordered another 2 games. Appreciate you for spreading the love for sure. Yeah, he's been on it, and we've been doing like some Black Study snacks where we cover a little bit of history. He's been commenting and loving those, so appreciate all the positive energy, King Griffin.
I got to ask you, where did you first learn about Black Wall Street?
I first learned about it 2012 in college. So I took my first African American Studies class. It wasn't like a long lecture on it. It was literally just like maybe 20 minutes, like, oh, Black Wall Street, it got bombed in 1921. That's it. But we didn't learn like about O.W. Gurley. We didn't learn about Stratford. We didn't learn about Mabel. Like we didn't learn about the people and the journey of how it actually got built. So a few years later, when I graduated and like I was working with high school students and none of them knew about it either, I was like, all right, this is why we need to make this game so that we can put some real life into it. And 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 11-year-olds, families are now going to hopefully grow up just knowing about Black Wall Street, just embedded into the culture.
I'm so proud of you, man. On that note, I did share with my 5th grade teacher about Black Wall Street, and he knew nothing about it. Now, this is the man that pointed me in the history and to learn things I had never known. But I don't know what, I was just thrown when he had never heard of Black Wall Street.
Right.
So we have a mission to make sure our young people behind us know it.
Facts. Because for me, so society, your memory, what you know will help lead what the future looks like. So if you know at one point, hundreds of years ago, well, for us, just 100 years ago, we had an entire Black city. Now kids know growing up, it's possible for us to have a Black city. It's possible for us to have corporations. And I think the more that we have community members thinking like that, like let's build, let's own, let's do our own thing, the more I think successful we're going to be as a community person.
So have the national news outlets reached out to you yet?
The national news outlets have not reached out. Just Black USA holding it down for us. Blavity has showed us some little bit of love, and then some more like this small but community oriented blogs as well. But
we got to get
all we need. We're not too worried about getting on the big.
Oh no! We need you on national television. I'd rather see you get a national interview than some of the stuff I see on there.
Yeah, but we know they don't like to cover positive stuff like this, and if they do, they might twist it the wrong way that we don't want it to be twisted.
You're a young Black man, and you created a game celebrating Black history in a time when racial justice is on the tip of everybody's tongue. I don't see anything that could be more apropos.
Thank you, and that's why we rock with Black USA. I appreciate how you think.
So we can do our part. What can people do to support you? How can people get the game? What's next?
Look, if you want to support and definitely give 10% towards the Greenwood Rising project, be a part of history and a impactful legacy, go to playblackWallStreet.com. Everything spelled normal. PlayblackWallStreet.com. Go ahead and get yourself a game or two. Hook yourself up, hook your loved ones up. You can also follow us on Instagram, Play Black Wall Street on Instagram, where we give more Black studies, updates, financial literacy, and just positive energy overall. And then, of course, if you want long form content, some good stuff coming out, we just started our Play Black Wall Street YouTube channel as well. So pretty consistent across all social media planners. Go ahead, find us, support, and y'all stay wealthy out there.
We got to get a game in the hands of Killer Mike.
Oh, I like that. Let's do it. And I've been shooting my shot with Greenwood Bank or Greenwood financial platform, because they're trying to do something. They haven't responded yet, but I'm very
once he sees the game, he will. You stay on it. Also, Jay Morrison is doing, I think, some type of a fund in Oklahoma. Jay Morrison out of Atlanta.
He has the Tulsa Black Wall Street Real Estate Fund, or the Tulsa Real Estate Fund.
Something like
that. I invested in that a few years back. That the dividends are going up a little bit now. I know at first people were really on him, like, we're never gonna get any dividends. What's going on? And he's been trying to do his thing in the background.
Good.
We're kind of tapped into that team.
Because let's just be honest, at the heart of Black Wall Street, at least, I don't know if you've met Reverend Michael Carter out in Oakland yet, but he says at the heart of Black Wall Street is keeping God first. And that includes God's principles. Don't lie, don't steal, don't cheat, Treat people like you want to be treated.
Yeah. Respect. Yeah. Simple. Yeah. Simple stuff.
Good
I love that.
Devon Truval, it's truly a pleasure, man. Thank you for all you do. I thank God for Rondi for introducing me to you and the game. Play Black Wall Street game, the one and only Devon Truval.
Appreciate you, King Glover. You stay healthy over there, and thanks for always looking out for us. And let's keep doing this. Whenever you want me back, you definitely got it.
Much love and respect to your family. Stay safe.
Yes, sir. You too.
And keep watching BlackUSA.News. My name's Donnie Glover. Talk to you next time. My man. Thank you.